Warning, citizens. It's the Golden Debate Show. EarlyMorningMark.com, and it's time for some change. So let's not waste no time, baby. Let's get Golden Debate.
Science. Science.
Golden Debate Show. Like, comment, share, and download. It's the only way we can get golden and defeat these vampires. So let's spread the word, baby. That's all I'm asking for. You know what I'm saying? Let's get the hits up on all these websites. Let's get the knowledge out, and let's stay together, Golden Universe. That's the only way we can defeat the vampires. Of course, they're not real vampires. They just suck off your energy. They suck off your... Yeah, they pretty much are fucking real vampires. Golden Debate. Let's stay golden, because golden knowledge will lead to golden 12-strand activation when we go to the motherland. Golden.
Mr. Chief Justice,
whatever you believe, remember, stay positive, do you, and never hurt the next man. That's that golden rule, you know what I'm saying? Stand up for what you believe in, and also stand up for what the next man believes in, because we'll have to take care of each other.
225 matches, 75 prosecutions, and 42 convictions, including that of Respondent King.
Well, that's really good. I'll bet you if you conducted a lot of unreasonable searches and seizures, you'd get
and what sucks is, you know what I'm saying, a lot of the times us as human beings don't take a lot of the fault on ourselves, and we blame exterior forces, you know what I'm saying, and you can't really do that. It's not always the vampire's fault, it's not always your boss's fault, it's not only, you know, this and that. Sometimes it's your fucking fault too. So let's stay golden. Golden Debate Show. Let's hunt these clips, let's hunt big media, and let's hunt for the truth.
You goods and services.
Clip from the No Agenda Show. This is the Golden Debate
economic
Show.
hitmen, I presume.
Yeah, but they seem to be stemming from the UN, but if you listen to it, it sounds like economic hitmen to me, and they do this human kind of a human resource.
We are wide and dirty.
This is a bunch of there's a bunch of possible memes in here. I have no conclusion about this except that they're obviously economic hitmen of some sort. They're all a bunch of ex-government guys.
And what is this from? What is this clip from?
This is from a meeting. It wasn't the Council on Foreign Relations, but it was something like that. And they were having this discussion about what they do. And this guy who's the head of it, he introduces himself, and then I do a little clip in there which is kind of seamless. But then he goes in to discuss this new methodology that's being developed to tell you if you're poor or not.
Okay.
My name is Fred Tipson.
Is this a test we can take, by the way, to see if you and I are poor? Will we qualify for this test?
So I think it has to be done by experts.
Oh, okay.
My name is Fred Tipson. I'm the director of the Washington office of UNDP.
Search for that real knowledge. It's out there, and don't just believe somebody if they say that they're your friend or that, you know, they're an official. Doesn't make an official, baby. Golden Debate.
We are the leading development agency of the United Nations. Have offices in over 130 countries and do work in more than 160 countries.
Wow, that's great. You've never heard of us, but look at where we are. Everywhere.
Yeah. Using your money.
Everywhere with your money.
But among those assignments are development challenges in many of the most difficult parts of the world. And this year, looking at 20 years since the innovation of the Human Development Report, which, as many of you know, was one of the first indices and reports based on the indices that went beyond income and gross domestic product measurements for measuring human welfare, and added in particular...
Wow. Measuring human welfare.
Get that mac and cheese! It's delicious, but it's also the pressure food.
Get the collective human resource coefficient, and that's your human welfare result.
It actually gets worse.
Okay. It's a struggle out there, but there's a proper way to do it. Let's struggle golden.
A wider view of what human development encompassed. What's interesting about this report, and I hope you can join us on November 17th at AED for that launch event. What's interesting...
Mark it in your calendar, John. We have to join them for that event.
Is that there are a number of
These are two old clips from the No Agenda Show, but they bring up very fascinating things that
measuring inequality,
more true now than ever.
Measuring gender empowerment, and one which is called the...
Gender empowerment. What would that be?
I don't know.
Gender, I guess.
But there's a coefficient involved.
Yes.
Multidimensional poverty index developed.
Well, wait a minute. This is a gem. What index?
Which is called the Multidimensional Poverty Index.
Oh.
What the fuck?
My multidimensional poverty index
It's out there.
pretty low right now.
But that's just crazy,
In
dog.
conjunction with Oxford University, which looks at an even more multifaceted way of thinking about both poverty and progress against measurements of poverty. So please come out for that.
Bullshit.
But, this is exactly what Professor Griff of Public Enemy is saying, because the poverty index of the human resources of Gitmo Nation proper is $630,000. That's what each human resource is worth. They have these calculations. I truly believe that.
And
I truly believe that.
Whether it should invade or not. What happens if we kill these people? What does that mean?
Yeah. And that again.
All we really want to do is just go over there and steal their oil.
And John,
why do we have to make it so complicated?
And it really comes right back to Paris 1919, where the number one thing they were trying to figure out it was, what is a dead soldier worth? And they were actually doing calculations this is what a human resource could have produced in their lifetime. This is the contribution to the GDP. This is how all governments and all leaders literally think about us.
Yeah, you're a human resource. You're basically just a line item.
Unfortunately, you and I are below the line. Actually, that could be good. I don't know. That might actually be good.
Dvorak.org/NA. Help us out.
We really do.
But the whole thing is distressing, and the whole that 1919 went into this thing, and that's what these guys are doing. The United Nations Development Agency.
I heard it on every radio station. I had a couple of lunch meetings this week, so I was driving through town, and I'll listen to NPR on the FM here, and I'll listen to the AM stations. And everyone had the same report. The vertebrates are going to die. Nearly 1 in 5 mammals, reptile, bird, or amphibian species are going to die.
Right. The one thing we didn't hook up to, which was the ancillary biodiversity meme, which is that we're having a mass extinction as we speak.
Every animal species is going to die.
Yeah.
No.
And then my favorite one, I forgot which site. First, somebody sent me this too, and they show all these animals, all the vertebrates are going to die, and then they show a couple of those cute little meerkats.
See, it's part true.
It's the Tasmanian
but
devil.
they also inflate the numbers so that they can tax or something.
Peeping out of a hole.
I don't want to die, you bastard.
I don't want to die. You're killing me with your global warming.
No, with your biodiversity.
Your biodiversity, you failed us.
I love the fact that we called this right on the cusp, I have to say, because we could have done this much earlier had I been really
since it started. They planned for this in '92 or whatever.
It's unbelievable, but it's literally like, and global warming is just a subset of biodiversity. This is so much bigger. And by the way, the word rolls off the tongue nicely, doesn't it? Yeah. Biodiversity.
Get that mac and cheese,
very concerned.
everybody.
Yeah, but you can say, what did you say?
It's like Pinot Grigio. There's a bunch of these wines that come on the market, and everyone starts ordering them because they can pronounce them.
Pinot Grigio, biodiversité. I think we should also pronounce it like that. Biodiversité. And it's not biodiversity, it's biodiversité.
Go to Biodiversity University. Go to the debate show. They come and share and download.
Too, which will annoy the crowd out of everyone.
Biodiversité. Get it going now. It's the official pronunciation of the No Agenda. Biodiversité. Honey, can I just say those jeans look great on you? Yeah, you look awesome. I love you. Give me a kiss, you sexy bitch.
In the morning.
Get that mac and cheese.
In the morning.
She is one big bundle of biodiversité. I tell you. So you should read these links. Let's see. Gitmo Nation Lowlands leading the charge. They have a whole bunch of programs at biodiversité.nl.
Well, I would think that the first thing that those underworld down under
Get that mac and cheese,
Lowlands.
everybody
Lowlands,
deserves their mac and cheese.
Lowlands people should do to encourage biodiversity is tear down your dikes.
That's right.
Tear down your dikes.
Jobs, and jobs.
You know what? I bet you we could actually get that going. The dikes are killing the biodiversity, man. It's like the dikes have got to go.
University.
Hey guys, how's it going?
You know,
I was doing a
the
Google
dikes have
search
got to
on
go
gold
because
today,
they're
and
ruining the
I found some really
biodiversity.
interesting stats on it, so I thought I'd share some of them with you guys. And you may or may not have heard about some of this, but a lot of it was new to me. I'm also going to leave you guys with a bizarre story at the end, so let me know what you guys think. Okay, fact number 1. Gold is probably the first metal that prehistoric humans have processed. The age of the gold jewelry, which archaeologists found in Bulgaria, can date back to 4000 BC. So basically, this kind of overlaps with the Stone Age a bit. Number 2. During 7th century BC, gold wire was used to install false teeth by an Italian dentist.
Get that golden show, golden debate show. Download, please, Golden Universe.
A 1 ounce piece of gold can be turned into a 5 millionth of an inch thick, semi-transparent, super thin layer, or it can be stretched to 50 miles long and is 5 microns in diameter, which is equivalent to 1/10 of the diameter of a piece of hair. Number 4. Of all the gold discovered in the past, 85% is still accounted for. Fact number 5. Outside the lunar module of the United States, Apollo airship was coated with gold foil with the aim to protect astronauts from radiation. And even now, the helmet worn by astronauts is still coated with a thin layer of gold membrane to protect astronauts' eyes from intense light. Number 6. The methods of refining gold will destroy the environment to some extent. Gold mines tend to dump a lot of cyanide into the ditch and pour nitrous oxide and sulfur oxide into the air.
Are you certain of your sensor readings?
Fact number 7. In gold reserves, the United States ranks first
Connecticut
in the world.
is going to be the first state in the nation to pass
GMO labeling,
mandatory GMO labeling bill. This would mandate labels
decoration
on foods that contain genetically modified ingredients. It passed the Connecticut House on Monday. The governor, Daniel Malloy, joined activists and House and Senate leadership to celebrate it. He says that my signature is not going to be an issue here. Now, there is a kind of trigger component that's included in this, right? And this requires, before it is required to label foods in this way to be sold in Connecticut, 4 other states have to pass similar legislation, and one of the states has to share a border with Connecticut, and the combined population of the 4 states that pass something similar has to be at least 20 million people. This is because if it's just Connecticut, they risk really putting their residents at a disservice because it might not be worth the cost of relabeling just for Connecticut's law, to the point where vendors might just pull out altogether from Connecticut. So they have this trigger mechanism where 4 other states, one bordering 20 million population altogether, has to be put in place to trigger this law. And if it is met, sellers or distributors who sell products containing GMOs that aren't labeled would be subject to a $1,000 a day fine per product, and the Department of Consumer Protection would be able to embargo the products altogether. This is very good, but this is, I want to make very clear, a separate conversation than the one about what types of GMOs are okay and which aren't okay. This is about simply knowing what's in our food, and we absolutely need this. If it becomes normal, right? You can say, well, listen, if all food is GMO,
deserves their mac and cheese,
then do we really need it labeled that way? That's not the current system. That's not a conversation for right now. This is the right law for now.
Yeah, I think.
Let's get into this Joe Rogan clip from the Joe Rogan Experience here on the Golden Debate Show. Peace, power, and knowledge, baby.
Regarding
Golden
the labeling of food.
No question.
And drink.
Distraction of the week.
The idea that we're literally on a gigantic organic spaceship, that's just too fucked up. It's too crazy to think. It's so
that's
much
just crazy talk.
Tiger Woods.
I'm feeling it.
What was Jesse James thinking? And it's so much easier to distract yourself with, who wears this dress better in Us magazine. 76% say this girl. I think as human beings, we have we're in a weird sort of an adolescent stage of evolution, and we have these incredible technological capabilities and this insane ability to communicate with people all over the world, and this insane ability to exchange information. But we're still trapped in this monkey body, and we still have these monkey instincts, and we work like in incredible hours. And if you see kids in school now, they have insane amounts of homework. They're trained to be a goddamn fucking drone. I mean, you work all day in school, and then you come home and you have hours and hours of homework, 3 and 4 hours of homework a night. to the point where you're just accustomed to like doing things you don't want to do, and then you're gonna take that and you're gonna go to college and you're gonna work on it there, and eventually
training, my
you're gonna
friend,
get a
training.
job, and that job is gonna require hours and hours of your day, and to the point where you don't have time to think about space. You don't have time to think about, is there some sort of a weird connection between every human being on the planet and every single action that you do? I mean, is life itself really just like sort of a gigantic mathematical equation that's too bizarre and unrecognizable to the average person? Well, those thoughts, there's no room for those when you have to get out for work in 5 hours and your baby's crying and, you know, you got to get gas and, you know, there's all sorts of different issues that people have that keep them from thinking about the real weird aspects of this life. This life is incredibly bizarre. J.D.S. Haldane said it best. Not only is the world stranger than you suppose, it's stranger than you can suppose. I mean, it really is.
Kind of
when you start getting into like you start getting into quantum physics and, you know, the idea of particles and superpositions where they can exist in motion and be still at the same time, and then there's subatomic particles that blink in and out of existence and exist in 2 different places at the same time. And like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, this is the UFC guy. He's deep as well, you know.
It's too crazy.
Don't judge a book by the cover.
In order for you to take care of your mortgage, in order for you to be a good neighbor and show up for
Get
the
that
fucking
mac and
homeowners
cheese,
association
everybody.
meeting on Tuesday night and, you know, gossip with the fucking neighbors about who's losing their house. There's too many variables. There's too much things going on, and people gravitate towards stupid, meaningless shit because it's easy to absorb and because it jives well with our monkey instincts. You know, the Large Hadron Collider doesn't get nearly as much weight in the news. You know, there's a bunch of motherfuckers. There's 10,000 scientists that are making black holes. You know, that's not getting the news. You know, that's not getting nearly as much attention. We're so strange that we're like a movie. The whole human race is like a goddamn Coen Brothers movie. There's a certain amount of programming that the media does. You know, I mean, especially if you watch like stuff like Fox News, there's a certain amount where they're sort of conditioning people to think a certain way. But for the most part, it's what people are interested in. You know, I think like the really deep, scary stuff is too daunting for a lot of people. There's something about people that it's like they don't want to know what's behind the door. They don't want to know what's outside. It's too scary. They want to control their micro world, you know, and that's why people like, you know, having a small group of friends and living in a small community, and, you know, and they like to know their environment. And when you get into really crazy shit like quantum physics, and you get into the universe and infinity, the idea of an infinite universe, perhaps not even one universe, but infinite numbers of universes, it's just too nuts. It's too crazy to think that above you literally goes on forever.
Neo-eugenics, research sterilant in vaccines.
Golden Debate Show. We'll debate it on after this.
Get that mac and cheese. Get that mac and cheese. Get that mac and cheese.
You overloaded your system.
Michael Douglas says he has PVD. HPV. For moral sex. But is it that, or is it because these guys is bothering him on the street? I mean, as a reporter, you gotta get people to stick.
This particular cancer in the testes is caused by something called HPV, which actually comes about from cunnilingus.
The GOP does not deserve to have any power. If you are too afraid of the consequences of standing up and defending this Constitution against whatever comes, but you're defending the Constitution. We've got a man that's sitting in the White House now who is constitutionally ineligible, and every damn body in America knows it. Everybody knows it. But yet you,
OMG, boy.
You, Reince Priebus, you, Fox News, became
everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Just try to inform those that roll with you. I find it interesting. He's somewhat right, but when people use the fear tactics and yelling, it doesn't always get your point across.
Stand up and to defend the Constitution of this nation does not deserve to be the president of America, and your party does not deserve to have any power. So go someplace and shoot yourself.
Damn, dude, why can't you just have a nice conversation, though, dude?
To be trampled on. And you said you're afraid of black people. Well, what does that mean?
Back to real news.
What does that mean?
Game 1 matchup. Let's send it downstairs to Susanna Collins, who's outside the Blackhawks dressing room. Good evening, Susanna.
Hey, Pat. Well, the second season starts tonight, and this Blackhawks team is ready. All season long, they have been saying that this is the season that matters. And despite the fact that they've had such a tremendous amount of success during the regular season, clinching the President's Trophy.
And tried to obstruct what they tried to do to Eric Holder. And by the way, he's not stepping down.
No.
Our hangouts filling up with people coming in long after the gates are locked.
Yeah, well, now one local city has had enough, and its leaders are taking steps to put a stop to it. Eyewitness News reporter Marcus Solis has the story.
Like any surveillance camera, the ones going up in Mount Vernon take pictures. But get this, they talk too, giving trespassers the following warning.
Stop. That's a restricted area.
Please, citizen.
We will use it to prosecute you. Leave the area now.
Listen to your phone calls. We'll take a picture. You will love it. Even if you didn't do that run, then there's nothing to worry about.
And vandalism at parks and playgrounds after hours.
We want to send a message that this is, if you're going to do evil things.
Let's learn more now from Jeffrey Kluger. He's a senior writer for Time Magazine. Jeffrey, good morning.
Good morning.
So how serious is this, and how concerned should we be?
It is serious, and we should be concerned. The last time the parts per million of CO2 in the atmosphere, they're currently 400 ppm, were this high was 2 million years ago during the Pleistocene era. There were forests in Greenland, and sea levels were 66 feet higher than they are right now. What this means is we are on the west side of Manhattan at this moment. If this keeps up to what it was back then, we would be swimming at this address.
And my understanding is that plants and animals can adjust when CO2 levels rise, but just not when it rises this quickly.
Well, that's exactly right. Plants
continue to believe that we've got to close Guantanamo.
It costs taxpayers about $25,000 a year to keep someone in federal prison. At a Supermax high-security prison where convicted terrorists are held, the tab can top $60,000.
Sounds expensive until you compare it to what it costs here at Guantanamo Bay.
It costs $900,000 per prisoner per year to hold detainees. So each man in Gitmo is equal to the cost of operating 3 months of White House tours. 4 Guantanamo detainees would pay for training 1 new Air Force pilot. CNN got exclusive access.
DRT, why did you wait? Why did you wait days to come out?
Deserves their mac and cheese.
There's other guys that they look like. I don't know.
Like, can I sit down or bingo bang out?
I'd like to know what I'm talking about before I speak.
Thank you. Thank you for all coming back in here. It is now my distinct pleasure and honor to introduce the presidential nominee.
Yeah, this guy's tipsy. I have a funny
for
feeling
the
he's tipsy,
Constitution Party. It is, of course, Virgil H. Good Jr., who hails from Rocky Mount, Virginia. He was born in Richmond, Virginia, in October 17, 1946. He received his BA from the University of Richmond, his JD from the University of Virginia Law School. He served in the Virginia Army National Guard. He's an attorney by trade. He was elected to He served as a legislator in the Virginia
Get that mac and cheese. Everybody
General Assembly,
deserves their mac and
Virginia
cheese.
State Senate.
India actually has already
was,
bought Iranian oil
served
using gold
12 years.
instead of U.S. dollars. And this is extremely significant because every year India actually spends $12 billion U.S. dollars on Iranian oil.
And even though it's still years
and now
away,
actually
it's a good
Beijing is
indication
also
of where
saying that it
Putin's
might
headed.
want to jump on
Because
board
if the
with
Russians
New
do have
Delhi and
zombie
also
technology,
look
it
into
confirms a
some
lot
sort
of
of
things we've
agreement
heard
with
about
Iran
Putin.
to continue to get oil.
Some of them
New Delhi
funny and
and
some of them
Beijing
not.
actually
But it's
account
also
for
a reminder,
40%
right, of how civilized
of
America
the imports
is.
of Iranian
But there's
oil.
a
The
problem.
EU only
We
counts
already
for
have a gun
20%.
like that. Our own radiation ray gun. It's called the active denial system, or pain ray. It's a directed energy weapon developed by the American military for security and crowd control. It is the ability to penetrate under the skin, hitting you like a needle, and then raising your body temperature like opening a microwave oven. Unlike the Russian gun, it can't actually control your mind. So basically, the Russians are trying to make a better zombie way than the one the United States has. The Cold War is over, but the one-upsmanship of toys continues. The only problem is if you actually ever imagine these things being used, as opposed to kind of thinking about it like some kind of comic strip, it makes you really sick to your stomach.
Decision, tell us why.
We do support the decision, and the reason for it is that so many lives are going to be saved. If we can know ahead of time, before somebody's going to commit a grievous act, who a person is through their DNA, by their DNA being in the system, and the arrest allows us to have that in the system, we can A, find cold cases that haven't been solved, and B, prevent other heinous crimes from happening, like murder and rape. So we do support the decision. We also support that it be that when other states take this up, and the states that are currently doing DNA on the rest, that they do it in an ethical way that provides the best evidence that we can get, and the most definitive evidence that we can get.
Enhancing our relationship with key powers, and moving ahead with new trade agreements and energy partnerships. And from our tough sanctions on Iran to our unprecedented military and intelligence cooperation with Israel, it's true. From New START with Russia to deeper partnerships with emerging powers like India, to stronger ties with the Gulf states. It runs in the family, throwing the occasional elbow, but hitting the big shot. As our ambassador,
down there in one of those catacombs, there's other guys that they look like, I don't know.
She's reinvigorated American diplomacy in New York. She's helped to put in place tough sanctions
Get that mac and
on Iran
cheese.
and North Korea. She has defended Israel. She has stood up for innocent civilians from Libya to Cote d'Ivoire. She's supported an independent South Sudan. She has raised her voice for human rights, including women's rights. Put simply, Susan exemplifies the finest tradition of American diplomacy and leadership. So thank you, Susan, for...
Attorney General, the highest-ranking law enforcement officer in this country, is a crook. Just be sure you're right.
Liquid gold. The obvious threat to untold numbers of citizens, and because of the crisis which is even now developing, this radio station will remain on the air day and night.
Yay! GDS, Golden Debate Show, early morning, mom. We got that news, got that go. College of like comment, share, download. Yes, the fifth line.
Liquid gold.
Get that mac and cheese. Everybody deserves their mac and cheese.
Golden Show, earlymorningmob.com.
I'd like to speak to Ms. Duckworth's amendment.
Gentlelady is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is true that we have on this subcommittee taken a really hard look, and will continue to take a hard look at the production, the development, and the production of the F-35. As you know,
liquid gold.
Get that mac and cheese.
Peace, Golden University. I see Stay Golden, like, comment, share, and download.
included in the buy as we move forward.
Making it all progressive. Showing
The last
improvement
year
every
has
day.
seen
You know what I'm saying?
significant improvement
So getting out
in
there,
the development and the production of the F-35. However, we also have to recall that this program is 7 years behind
Thrilled
schedule.
that she'll be back at my side leading my national security team in my second term.
Republicans, any questions about who's really in charge? At the height of their phony outrage, John McCain went on 6 different TV shows in one weekend to make his point, and other right-wingers followed his nonsense.